TV. And now here comes for the second afternoon of Children's GBC with your presenter, George Buxton, who is going to be doing some programs today and including a very special guest that you may have had this morning.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Children's GBC in the afternoon. Okay then, so that you know that I haven't done any presenting here in this household yet. Well, not before. Yeah, well, not since the Children's FTV or GTV days. Well, so that you know that I'm glad to be back in here again. Okay, so we got some of your favourite programmes coming your way. Now, in just a couple of minutes, we will be having our special episode of Playdays, where the Nay Valley Railway is being filmed here because since Thomas the Tank Engine was there. That's with Dave Benson, Phillips, Chester and the children who will be having a ride on the train with Thomas later. So right now on Children's GBC, it's time for Postman Pat as he tries to chase a hen, after trying to get his sandwich back. I wonder if it's ham sandwich though.
Postman Pat, Postman Pat, and his black and white cat. Early in the morning, just as day is dawning, he picks up all the post bags in his van. Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat, and his black and white cat. All the birds are singing, and the day is just beginning. Pat feels he's a really happy man. Everybody knows Postman Pat, and his black and white cat.
And that was Postman Pat. Well, mind you, Postman Pat did try to go after the magpie hen. First the magpie hen stole a sandwich, and then the hen just stole a ring from Dorothy Thompson. But I think she was very pleased that she managed to get her ring back with Postman Pat's help and all. So that's Postman Pat. Okay, now as a very special treat this afternoon, here we have our special guest who I will be interviewing with, and it might be a clue to the next programme. And it's none other than George Brind.
Hello, everybody. Hello. I said this morning I'd make a cameo here.
Yeah, and you certainly did, George Brind. Okay, now I have a few questions I'd like to ask. So, how was your holiday, regarding about the railway? The Tarralin and the Nay Valley Railway?
Yes, the Tallyclyn Railway in Wales and the Nene Valley Railway in Wansford, near Peterborough. Well, starting with Wales, I'd say definitely it went very well. It was such an honour to meet the Audrey family, or members of them, see the engines out and about, socialise with the fans. It was quite a good experience. I even met Clive Spong, who illustrated Christopher Audrey's books, which was a very pleasant surprise indeed, and people like that. As to my experience at the Nene Valley Railway, I definitely say it went well. And my nephew especially, and niece, whose family lives about 45 minutes away from Wansford. But my nephew especially, he had a very good time seeing Thomas the Tank Engine up close.
That's right. Yeah, because that's where the Thomas the Tank Engine was being built there years ago.
Oh yeah, very many years ago. In fact, Wilbur Audrey himself seemed to like this similar locomotive so much he even christened him Thomas. But that is.
Well, I guess that explains the whole story of when Wilbur Audrey has christened that tank engine named Thomas.
Yeah, but that's a completely different story for now.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Now, before I introduce the next programme, after this, I'm going to let George Brind to tell you for what the next programme is. Take it away, George Brind.
Well, by sheer coincidence, the Nene Valley Railway is indeed the subject of our next programme. It is indeed Playdays with Dave Benson Phillips, his friend Chester, and a group of children from the Playground Stop group. This is indeed Playdays, in which they visit Thomas on the Nene Valley Railway and go for a ride.
And ring the bell with me then. Ding ding. Or it could be Ring choo! Ring choo!
This is Playdays, everybody, and I hope you enjoy it.
It's the play bus! But where does it go? Where does it stop? Watch for the sign of the lollipop. Stop! It's the playground stop.
Playground Express will be leaving for Wansford any moment now. I'll see you in the playground next week. Bye-bye!
Bye.
Was Playdays, and mind you, it was a playground stop. And I'm also glad that Dave, Benson, Phillips, Chester, and the children from a playground stop have enjoyed the ride on Thomas. And of course, it's not just Thomas, but of course they had to go on a certain coach. It's not like it's Annie and Clarabelle or anything, because sadly they're not here in the Playdays episode as such. That would be a bit silly. Oh, and if you were wondering why I said ring choo, because I can't tell the difference whether it's ding ding, because I already know that ding ding is a play bus that's arriving, and as for the train, choo choo, yeah, that's the same thing. And even I know that Dave Benson Phillips doesn't usually go out with the children, no, but he also uses some Magaton sign language, which I've learned that I get from Amanda, who helps me the most. So anyways, that's Playdays done. So now on Children's GBC, it's time to go up to Button Moon now. And in today's episode, Ragdoll has a cold. And that was Button Moon. Well, mind you, I'm so glad that the Ragdoll was feeling much better now, all thanks to the Spoon family, who were only doing their best to cheer the Ragdoll up. And even Freddie Taylor came to help too. Yeah, I'm so glad that Ragdoll's cheered up, because otherwise, if she was really ill, well, then I don't know what's going to happen to her. But anyways, let's just move on from the subject. So now on Children's GBC, it's time to go over to the Birdwell Island, who goes with the name of a certain walking clown, Charlie Chalk. And in today's episode, Charlie is now shipwrecked on an island. Or should I just say, boat wrecked, just because it's only a small boat.
Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk, got a funny way of walking and a wacky way of talking. Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk, oh Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk. He can get you out of trouble, he can teach you how to juggle. That's Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk, yeah Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk. He rowed a boat to sea to do some sleeping and some fishing. When he awoke, he saw an island. Was he dreaming or just wishing? But he comes around to see him clown and watch him tumble.
And that was Charlie Chalk. Yeah, well, mind you, Charlie may have been shipwrecked on an island, but he now lives in that island now with his new friends, such as Arnold the Elephant and Louis T. Duck. Oh yes, and others too. So yeah, that's Charlie Chalk. And now it's time to get on with this certain classic episode of Bodger and Badger. And of course today, it's the very first episode that began in 1989 and that ends in 1999. and guest starring Stephen Lewis, who plays who plays the bus conductor on the buses. Well, you'll soon see why for yourself as you watch the first ever episode of Bodger and Badger. And enjoy. Oh, and I hope you remember this theme tune. Goes like Bodger and Badger.
Everywhere he goes, Bodger always knows. Badger, his badger mate is never far away. Bodger and Badger, Bodger and Badger. La 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 la, Badger's never far away. Some into shapes and eats them every day. Bodger and Badger, Bodger and Badger. La 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 la. Everywhere he goes, Bodger always knows. Badger, his badger mate is never far away. Bodger and Badger, Bodger and Badger. La 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 la. Bodger and Badger are never far away.
And that was Bodger and Badger. Yeah, well, mind you, I'm so glad that Bodger has now got a job as a chef. But of course, he might not be at this job for so long. But I'm sure you'll find out in the next few episodes or so. But that's, of course, Mavis, however, was the one who played by Joan Campbell, who played Queen Bet in Alphabet Castle. But that's only going to be happening in another programme, which is probably tomorrow, no doubt. So right now on Children's GBC, it's time for the first ever episode of Sooty & Co. And as Stephen Wright would say, and now it's time to open up a business in a shop called Sooty & Co. Let's have a look around. It appears that Sooty doesn't want to come out of him a moment. It is quite understandable because he had a long break and now he's waiting in the wings. And then hopefully he should come out pretty soon. Sooty!
Hey ho, it's Sooty and Co. Everybody say hello. There's Sooty.
The Morph Files, Take 1, Dr. Morph.
And that was Sooty & Co. Yeah, but I'm so glad that Sooty has settled in very nicely. Of course, he had to go and collect a camper van from a caravanning, let's just say it was from a caravan shop, camper van. It's a bit like one of those Bedford camper vans that you get back then, right? Well, it's obviously a bit like that from Sooty & Co. So, obviously, let's just say he just settled in and he's got himself a new transport, I would say. So anyways, that's Sooty & Co. And now it's time to move on to the Morph Files. And in today's episode, when Morph became a doctor. Well, doctor. I think I've gone all crazy. Well, why don't I just go off? Anyways, here's the Morph Files anyway. That was the Morph Files, and I'm so glad that Morph has enjoyed being a doctor. Well, despite that, he had to run to and fro to help other people. So yeah, that's the Morph Files now. And now it's time to join the Chugger Brothers in Rotherham to meet up with them. And as George Brind would say, to me, to you, to me, to you, to me, to you.
there will be some more chuckling fun with the Chuckle Brothers, but that's only happening tomorrow morning right here on Children's GBC.
That was the Chuckle Brothers, and of course, it was happening in the lighthouse, though. Yeah, but at the end, though, I think they found out there was a real ghost in the lighthouse. How particularly odd. Now, anyways, that was the last program for today on Children's GBC. Okay, but don't worry though. I'm sure that me or any of the other characters will be back again on Children's GBC tomorrow morning. And that's when we will kick things off with Playdays. That's what we will be including from sometime onwards. Like either at 10 o'clock, just like Children's BBC used to do in the 90s. Well, it's up to anybody who wants to do. So now it's time to close off Children's GBC for now. And this is me, George Buxton, saying, signing off. And it's time for me to say goodbye. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. And special thanks to George Brind for coming in for an interview with me earlier on. Goodbye.
You're watching GTV, and now it's time to head over to Summer Bay now, as usual, by the name of Home and Away.